What's this knob do? No one had to properly atone for anything back then.
What is up, everybody? This is Opti here again with the 5th episode of Hammer the Effin' Basics. So, what we're going to be doing today in Hammer the Effin' Basics is specifically focused for Day of Defeat source. This is for Day of Defeat source hammer only. So if you have been following along and you've been using a different version of hammer, please do not follow along with this video. This will be for Day of Defeat source only. So with that being said, this Day of Defeat source only tutorial will be focusing on capture zones. And what the capture zones are, they're flags. They're the flags that are inside the level that you run up to, you stand there for a couple seconds, capture it, run to the next one, capture it, run to the next one, capture it, and then you win the game. Ba-bam. Everything's set. So with that being said, let's just dive right on in. Jump right on in here. So, obviously, we have our tutorial map open that we've been working on since the last game. We've got the skybox already now. We've got the room, a couple of entities. We've got our lights. And like I said in the last tutorials, these tutorials are for literally people that are just opening Hammer, that don't know how to use Hammer. This is not for people that need advanced help. This isn't for people that need, like Oculoader help or anything along those lines. This is for just the straight up, the beginner. So, follow along, and hopefully we'll get somewhere. But with tutorials to come out in the future, there will be intermediate and advanced tutorials on Hammer, as well as skinning, texturing, getting all of those things set up here. So that way we do have that ability out there. So that way I'm not just helping beginners. I do want to help intermediate and advanced users as well. So stay tuned and take a look at my other Hammer tutorials. But for this one, we're just going to jump right in, like I said. What we're going to start with is we're going to start with our block tool. And some of the tools we're going to be focusing on today are our block tool, our entity tool, our select tool, camera tool, and our toggle texture application tool. So what we're going to first do, have the block tool selected, go to browse, type in trigger, find the texture that says trigger on it. We'll go into our map area here. We're going to make a trigger texture, 128 by 128. Make the height of this trigger texture 256 units. And this is going to be the height of our area that it takes to capture the flag. And that's exactly what we're making right here. So, if a player were to stand inside of this area, they would be capturing the flag that we're going to be creating right now. We'll drop another entity in the level by selecting the entity tool. Then we're going to select our select tool and select the entity. Once we have them selected, we'll go to class, type in DOD underscore control point. We will double click that. Now, with control point, there's a shit ton of stuff to go over here. So stay with me. In control point, we'll start with disabled. No, I don't want to have this start disabled. If you do want to have it start disabled, we can go over that later. But you would require outputs and inputs to make that enabled. Name. Every single flag or control point that you have is going to have a name, regardless of if you want it to or not. It needs to have a name. So what we're going to name this one is we're going to name this one flag 1. Next, we have pitch, yaw, roll. This is just a direction that the flag is going to be facing. You can change this, obviously, with the black sphere and the white line, of course. After that, we have localized name to point to on HUD. So what this says right now, it says to do set name. What that means is in the upper right-hand corner, when you capture a zone or capture a point, it's going to show your name plus whatever you type into this box. So if you put like flag 1 zone, that's exactly what it's going to say in the upper right-hand corner. The next two are time-based point values for allies and axes. This is only used in maps that have time-based point value counters. And that's very self-explanatory. I'll go over that in a later version, or once we put the control point master on here. I believe it should have those numbers there. You can set a default owner to either the axes, allies, or neither. You can even select certain sounds made. Now, when you're looking for sounds, it's not going to have raw or the filter for flags. So you're going to have to go from game sounds to raw and then type in flags. Once you have flags, you'll see player, German, all these other things. You can also type in voice. That'll give you a lot of other voices here. You can preview the sound. Refresh the sounds, stop them, cancel, open the sources, but I don't want to have any sound for any of these. You can change the model as well by using the model browser as we explained in the last tutorial for some of the lighting there. I believe we explained the model browser. But we will not go over the model browser today because we don't need to. Reset model, all these things you don't need to worry about. The reset model body group, don't need to worry about. Group index, we don't need to worry about. Index of this point is definitely something you need to have on every single flag as well. So since this is flag 1, we're going to have this index as 1. Obviously, flag 2 is going to have index of 2, 3 is going to have index of 3, 4, so on and so forth, depending on how many flags that you have in your map. Don't skip numbers with flags. You cannot skip numbers with the flags because the game will not operate correctly if you do that. Next, after that, we have the materials that are shown on the HUD when you have the control point. So when axis on the point, when ally is on the point, you can select a specific material. Usually you do that. I type in icon. I like to do hero for my icons, but the generic ones are the OBJ allies and axes. So once we've got that, we'll slide the flag right into the middle here. You can put the flag wherever you want to, as long as the player can access the capture zone. So you can put this flag on top of this building. The player doesn't have to stand on the flag; they have to stand in the capture zone in order to capture it. So go to the trigger tool. We're going to select it and then hold Control and hit T. It's going to tie it to an entity. The default entity is func detail. We'll select the class there. Type in DOD_capture. Oops, if I can spell capture. It's going to come up with capture_area. This is going to be needed to operate and run these day of defeat source capture zones. So with that being said, start disabled, obviously no unless your flag starts disabled, then you want to enable them both at the same time. Name, it does not necessarily need a name unless you have something that operates this. So if you have a button that turns this on, can allies cap, can axes cap, self-explanatory. Number of allies and number of axes to capture, self-explanatory, and time to capture, self-explanatory. I will change my time to 2. The name of the control point that this area is linked to, we're going to have to change it to flag 1, and then we will click apply. I like to click apply a couple of times. After I add certain entities and certain things into maps, I like to save the game just to make sure that the game doesn't fucking crash on me again. Let's see, I'll bring that down a little bit. But now that I've got that, we're going to go ahead and select both of those. So the capture zone and the flag. We'll hold shift, left click, drag and drop. Hold shift, left click, drag and drop. And bam. Now for our second flag, we have to rename this one, obviously. We're going to rename it to flag 2. And then go to our capture zone and just make sure that we linked at the flag 2 here real quick. Go back into the control point. We'll change the name on the HUD to be flag 2 zone. And then the index of this point, since it's the second flag, we will do 2. Alright, and then we'll go on to the final area here. We'll change the third flag to flag 3. We'll change the localized name on HUD to flag 3 zone. And then change the index of the point to number 3. Obviously, we'll go to apply, zoom out, we'll go to that trigger texture, and just change the name that it's linked to flag 3. Alright, so for the purpose of this one, I'll change this back to 5 seconds for the default to show you exactly what it looks like here. So as you can see, we've got the 3 control points. This is not going to make your control points work yet. You still need one additional entity. So we'll click the entity tool, place an entity in the map, double click the entity here, go to class, type in DOD_control point master, And that's exactly what we want here. Click apply. You don't need to name it. Obviously, do not start disabled no for a round timer unless you want to have a timer set to rounds, in which case you would need to set the length for the timer, and it is in seconds, not minutes, and which team wins when the timer expires. You don't really need to worry about any of the bottom 3 or 4, I should say, as long as you have capture zones in your map. If you do want the round to end at a certain time, then you would obviously change this for those purposes. No flags, so we don't have to worry about that. And it doesn't matter if it's sticking into the ground or not, but I just like to make things pretty clean. I like to stick mine over by where my light's at, the light environment, because it's an unused object, unused entity in the game. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and load up the game. We will check out what this looks like here with the control points. And after we get the control points here, we're going to go ahead and stop this tutorial. We'll go on to the next tutorial, episode 6 of the fucking base 6. Yeah, I got that one to rhyme. And it's only because it's episode 6, honestly. But we'll go on to episode 6. And in episode 6, I'm not too sure what we'll do, but we're going to be finishing up these little episodics here. But like I said, this is just straight up for the beginners, the people that never have operated hammer. I mean, even some of the tutorials that I watch, these guys are fucking flying through this stuff, and it's like, dude, you gotta stop and slow down and tell them, hey, use this tool, and use this tool, and use this tool, and it's fucking ridiculous. But let's load this up, so we'll control save, or control S to save it. We'll hit F9. I'll leave all of these normal, because I like to do the full compiles for my tests. Or the normal compile, I should say. We'll let the Steam guy load up. Alright, choose our team here, and I'll show you how to fix this too, to where you have a different camera view as well. But that'll be in the next tutorial, so you're gonna have to watch that one. So we've got our cat in our room here, we've got the light from the inside, and then we've got some of the light shining through from the outside, because the lighting is over here in this corner. And there's our 3 flags. So as you can see in the top left-hand corner, we've got 1, 2, and 3. If I go over to this first flag and stand here for 2 seconds, it'll say flag 1 zone captured. If I stand in this second area for 2 seconds, flag 2 zone captured in the right. And if I stand here for 5 seconds, it'll give me the flag 3 zone captured, and I've won the game. And as you can tell, I've got the most captures because I'm the best fucking player in this whole lobby. This entire lobby full of players. So, this has been the 5th episode of Hammer the Effin' Basics. Go ahead and stick around for the 6th. We will get into getting everything all finalized for the rest of this tutorial map here. And then in the future, we're going to start doing a little bit more advanced Hammer tutorials, showing you guys a little bit more stuff to do. Instead of just this, add a light, add a block, then you're good. That's not it. That's not all you have to do, but this is literally just the straight up basics for you. So, stick around. Thank you very much for watching so far. Like, subscribe, give us lots of money. I need $1 million. And you guys have a great day. Opti out.